Half a day, guys, and we're back with another episode of the One Micronesia Podcast. My name is Victorious, and in this episode, man, I am so stoked, hyped. What other words can they be? Can there be about this interview? Because these two, I met them in 2008 in Beijing when their father was at the post, the FSM post in Beijing, and after all those years, we've always kept in contact, and we're became a family. And I got them on here not just to chat away as boys, but to talk about the things that they're doing, which is so powerful in what we're trying to do here in the Micronesian region when it comes to branding and photography. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Guys, welcome to the podcast. Let the people know who you are and where you're currently at right now.
Hey, kasele everybody. My name is Calvin Apis. I'm from the humble island of Pohnpeians. I currently live in Hawaii, and I'm working as a ocean safety lifeguard for Honolulu. At the same time, I'm running Sosa Productions and Breadfruit.
My name is Acer Apis. I'm the younger brother of Calvin. I'm currently living here on the beautiful island of Pohnpei, running both Soset Productions and Breadfruit Co. here in Pohnpei. Thank you for having us, Victor.
Hey guys, like I said, man, like 2008, that was such a long time ago with Facebook and everything. Connection was there, but we never really sat down and to talk. But today, like I said, we're here to conduct business, and business is to get to know you guys and to get to know your brand, to get to know your video company. So let's get to it. Let's start with, how did it all start for you guys? And I'm gonna start with the video company, and I'll get Calvin on here. How did it all start?
So for Sosa Productions, it started out with just me and a good friend, actually my best friend. I actually call him my little brother, Kobe Ogata. We wanted to just create highlight videos for each other, just videos of each other surfing, diving, hiking, and adventuring. But one day I was at home. I came back from work, sat on the couch, put on YouTube, and I was just skimming through. And I was just watching a few clips of videos of back home. And then it just hit me, man. Like, why are all these videos not being made by us? Because I just thought, like, no one can tell our stories like we can. I realized then that we needed to be the ones to tell our own stories. So honestly, that is really how Sosa Productions all started.
And then, we the beautiful videos. Let's talk about the brand, man, because we talk about video being there, video, being presented, Micronesia pretty much being presented in high quality. Now, also in high quality is a brand, t-shirts and stuff like clothing, So I'm going to get Acer to jump on here and talk about the clothing brand, Breadfruit Company. How did it all start?
So yeah, bro, like always, it always starts off with an idea. I've always had the passion for creating and designing during my times at Xavier High School. So when I moved to Beijing for college, I figured this is the perfect place and the perfect time to start. But in order to start, I needed some capital. So at this time, I was like always gaming. I was gaming every day. So in order to make my dreams become a reality, I needed to make some sacrifices. So I made a difficult choice to sell my PS4. And I was lucky enough that someone bought it for $400. And with that money, I just had enough to make 50 shirts. Sold it all in Beijing to the FSM community in just a week. And that's all. And that's how it all started.
And, Calvin talked about how the video company and how it all started, how he meant for him. Now, why did you think a branding, a clothing company that said Breadfruit, that said Micronesia on it, was something that you felt like it was important to continue?
Okay, so yeah, around the time I was thinking of the name, the goal wasn't to just establish here in Pohnpei. I was thinking bigger. The goal was to expand throughout the Pacific. But in order to expand, I had to think of a name that shouted Pacific. So as I was writing down the name of all the names I could think of, boom, Breadfruit. What shouted Pacific more than Breadfruit? It was something all Pacific 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 Islanders eat. I just knew that was it.
That's crazy. I mean, you talk about something that would not only signify Micronesia, not only signify Pohnpei, but something that somebody from Polynesia would seem like, bro, I can wear that. Breadfruit, we have breadfruit. Breadfruit is one of the main staples in our islands. So even here on Guam, people wear this shirt because breadfruit is also a part of a staple of something to eat, but it's also a part of culture. So it's such a brilliant idea, because that coconut tree in that beach is pretty much all used out or worn out. Everybody uses it now. So with something
Yeah.
like this, it's so simple. It says breadfruit, but you already at the back of your head, you already know that it means so much. That's just an awesome way to get a brand going, to pick something that really signifies, and at the same time it's unique. That's awesome, man. So let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about equipment, because when we talk about how things started, of course you didn't start right away with your straight up HD 4K shots. We had to start somewhere. So and with Calvin, you didn't have the best, the amazing design, or with Acer, with the amazing design that you have now. So let's start with Sosa, and how did it all start equipment wise? Tell us the story of how it all evolved for the video production.
Yeah. Man, it's kind of funny, man. We really honestly had nothing special. We started with the phone I had during that time, which was an iPhone 5S, I think. And I th- yeah, I think it was a iPhone 5S. But with a lot of sacrifice, man, eating ramen, Sapporo choice ramen, sacrificing and eating musubis every single day. Um, we finally came up with enough money to buy our first DSLR camera, and it just snowballed from there. Saving, buying more lens, saving, buying a mic, saving, buying lights, and now, thankfully, currently we own a high quality mirrorless camera that can shoot in 4K.
Wow. And that's amazing. Let's talk to Acer. Let's talk about the clothing brand, because when we talk about clothing brand, you have to have high end programs or high end computers, or stuff that can actually hold image and image quality that you want to get when you want to put it on a shirt. I mean, the better the quality, that the better the printing companies could print it. So let's talk about how it all started for you. Like, was it a simple program then, and then now using something that's high end? What's the story?
Yeah, so in the beginning, all I had was a laptop that I brought home. It didn't really have the specs I needed for graphic designing, but it was all I had. So I started from that. So t-shirts after t-shirts, I started slowly upgrading my equipment. Got a better laptop, got a better program, bought a drawing tablet, which made it easier for me to design. Bought my camera, bought a drone, and just kept on adding more and more equipments from there.
Wow. And if people listening right now to the podcast, everybody would know that the struggle was real. Let's talk about that. Struggle was real. You guys had to sacrifice so much, to get the equipment you guys needed, so that way you're putting out content that is high end, the content that people, big companies in the world are putting out right now. But you had to make that sacrifice to buy equipment and to get to where you're at. So such an amazing story. Guys, I'm going to cut it real short right now. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more of the stories behind Sosa Productions and Breadfruit Company. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back with the One Micronesia Podcast. Another great episode. Now, if you missed that, well, I'm sitting down and chatting with such old friends who are doing such amazing work back in Pohnpei with when it comes to video and clothing brands. So with me here today, of course, representing Sosa Productions and Breadfruit Company, I do have two amazing brothers. We got Calvin and Acer Apis back here with on the podcast with me. So guys, we went into break and we're talking about equipment and the struggle being so real, the sacrifice that you guys had to go through. But here we are. Let's talk about the goal for the company, because at any company, you always have that goal, something to to always go back onto, or to fall back on when you're lost in whatever project you're doing. So let's talk about the goal for both productions. Let's start with Breadfruit Company. What's the goal?
Thank you, Victor. Um, we have two main goals. One is what I mentioned earlier, is to expand throughout the Pacific. And my other main goal is for Breadfruit Co. to become so successful to the point that we could be giving back to our community, giving back to the people, being something bigger than just a clothing brand. We want to be a part of something great and something meaningful.
Wow, such a powerful speech there, brother. Powerful.
Wow.
Calvin's like, oh man, I gotta go next.
Right.
Well, but Cal, Acer he's got a point, man, and he's off to, way before this was kind of a redo of some of the interviews that we did, but we did, Cal, we did talk about, those generic shirts that we had back in the day. Yap had them, Pohnpei had them. It's those generic shirts that you can buy at random stores back in the islands that just said Yap or Pohnpei or Chuk. But now look at what Acer's doing, what you guys are doing, pretty much in making a brand, something that you could, the people from the islands would usually buy when they go to Hawaii or come to Guam. But now you're making it back in Pohnpei. He's doing something. But at the same time, when it comes to you, Cal, and of course Acer, because you guys are both part of the video company, you guys or production, is you guys are putting out such amazing 4K quality of look of the islands. So Cal, I know you talked a little bit about it, but is there more to the goal of what you want in the video production?
Yeah, man. Do we have some very big goals? Our main goal is really we want to be recognized as one of the best production companies in Micronesia. We want to consistently bring out impactful content for our viewers, high quality videos showing our different islands, and we want to also travel to different islands and share all those untold stories. So we hope to even make our own movie. That's really like one of our main goals too.
Hey, like I said, man, goals are there, so you can fall back onto it. It doesn't mean that it's something that you have to stop at. It's there to remind you where you started or where you were going, but that doesn't mean you can change it up as you go and do bigger things. Like you said, a movie, that's, you talk about high end production, but I think you guys are doing it now. And the more you do it, the more you get better at it. And then, like you said, down the line, we're looking at a movie made by Micronesians, directed, produced by Micronesians,
Exactly.
So when
Yes.
we put out those credits in the theaters, you see the names and you know who's there. We watch a movie now and you see a credit go down, like, okay, because that's why people leave, because they don't know who's in the credits. You put Micronesian people in a movie, bro, we'll sit through that whole credit, bro. We'll be eating our whole popcorn through that credit. Be like, yo, I know that guy. Yo, hey, that's my cousin. Hey, yo, that's my cousin, bro.
And we do that. We're so proud
Exactly.
of like our fellow Micronesians, our
Exactly.
fellow Pacific Islanders.
Exactly. And you see how powerful it is when a movie from islands come on. We recently had a couple being filmed on Guam. I don't know if you guys seen it. We saw Christmas Drop,
Christmas drop.
Operation Christmas Drop. It wasn't what we wanted fully, but see, that's what happens. That's what happens. We know Calvin talked about this. That's what happens when somebody's telling our story. If we tell our story, we'll tell it all. We'll show every aspect of it and why it's important and why it's been a part of our culture. So this is an awesome thing. Of course, you guys are starting with 3-minute video, a little 3-minute videos here, or maybe a 14-minute, vlog of just exploring the islands. But at the end, man, that's the end game. That's the end, that's the end goal. And I love that. I love the fact that you brought in movies. You weren't just like stingy and scared and like, oh no, I'm not going to say movie because maybe it won't happen. No, it will happen, and I have faith in you guys. And, down the line, I hope you, and I know we're going to talk about giving back to the community later on, but I know, there are so many kids nowadays who would love to shoot and edit. It's something that it can be taught to the younger generation of Micronesians. So we'll definitely, get to that down the line. But such an awesome goal, man, that you guys have set. And honestly, just keep at it, bro. Just never give up and just keep going, pretty much, you know?
Thank you so much, Rick.
Let's talk about inspiration, because, you can just turn on a camera or just turn on a tablet and just stare at an empty canvas, stare at it, just look at the open and be like, what am I going to do? Let's talk about inspiration, because I think one of the things that keep us going is inspiration from things that help us with our work. What are some inspirations for you guys?
It really comes from being raised back home, and because I've been lucky enough to leave the island, I never really knew what I had until I left. We got to move to Beijing, and after 5 years of living in Beijing, I finally went back home and I just saw how beautiful Pohnpei was, and I was like, did Pohnpei really look like this? It had it. I had to leave the island for me to realize how beautiful it was. So I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of the inspiration really comes from the different experiences I had, like coming from such a small island, going to see such a big country like China, and seeing how much there was for our islands to show. So I hope I answered that question.
Oh, yes, you did, bro. Like you hit it on point, man. You talk about, something that we from the islands, at some point we tend to forget, that we live on a beautiful island, that we save so much money just to travel to another island for a vacation, stuff like that. So what you said was just perfect, man. And you said you had to leave to come back to realize how beautiful it was. And that's why you believed in telling the story of our islands. That's amazing. And Acer, man, let's talk about you, man. Let's talk about some of those inspiration, because designing, when it comes to graphic designing, it's a lot, bro. It's a headache sometimes. I have friends who graphic design here, and bro, at times they just lose inspiration and, put projects away because they're just tired of it or can't move forward. So what are some inspirations for you?
Oh yeah, dude, it's just headache, bro. But yeah, man, I really don't know. I think I get all my inspirations from my surroundings. The beautiful landscapes and the ocean, the different activities I go to, such as like the traditional events and parties. But honestly, I really just think it's just our culture and history. Like, I have a few designs, like my Soques Rebellion jersey. This was during the German time when the people of Soques rebelled against the German. And then I also have my Japanese era tee. This design was inspired by an historical event that when the Japanese colonized us and made a huge impact on us. I don't know. I think we just have a unique history and culture, and that's really what inspires my designs.
That's awesome. I mean, you talk about the eras in time, the rebellion in Soques. You talk about the Japanese era. These were times that happened. These were the things that are part of our history, and it made who we are today, who we are. So that's amazing to take all that and put it on a design for people to wear elsewhere, because like we talked about this, like your videos, your clothing brand, like when people out there wear this, they're not only wearing it from themselves or to show pride from what island they're from, or show that they're Micronesian overall, but they're also showing, foreigners or people on the outside, like what those are, like we talk about people looking at a shirt and, what, like breadfruit. Let's talk about just breadfruit alone. People will research, what's a breadfruit? And then when they do their research, they're like, oh, this is one of the main staples on the islands. This is in Micronesia. Oh, let's look up Micronesia. So stuff like that will get people searching, and that's how we get people to realize and to look into our islands, and hopefully down the line after all this COVID lockdown to come and visit, because that's what we want. We want people to come to our islands and see how beautiful it is when it comes to culture and everything that we have to offer. So it's just perfect how you guys are hitting it on point, man. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back after this. All right, guys, and we are back with another episode of the One Micronesia Podcast. And remember, I'm still here. We're still talking, chit-chatting with the brothers. I got Calvin and Acer Apis, both from Pohnpei, who have a great companies, one with video and the other with a clothing brand. So we have Soist Production and also Breadfruit Company. I'm talking to these guys, and the talk is so far so good, interesting. What a catch-up we're doing right now. So, guys, we're back here. We talked about inspiration for you guys. Now let's get down to what it's all about, the work. Now let's talk about some of the and I know with Soist Production, you guys did a lot of project, a lot of give back to the community. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so that project was actually funded by MCT, which is an NGO here. MCT short for Micronesia Conservation Trust. Yeah, so we did a project with them on, the title was a dredging film, and we went around the island and then covered most of the dredge sites and then put it all in one video. Yeah.
And it's amazing, man. We talk about putting out quality, and that video that you guys shot, people will watch it over and over again. And because of one, it has such an amazing message behind it. But at the same time, they're watching it because they can see how beautiful the island is in 4K, man. So like I said, we were talking about a give back, and you guys are definitely doing that. You're not only just doing videos for yourselves or for the production or for the clothing brand, but you're giving back to the community. Take time out of your busy schedule so you can give back to the community. And that's such a beautiful thing. And I think that's what we're all about, man. You guys talked about it somewhere at the beginning of the podcast, where at one point, it's not about you. It's not about the company. It's not about the clothing brand. It's about giving back. And I think that's one of the ways that you guys are doing so.
Yeah, man, there's so much more videos that we're planning to come out with. We actually have some amazing plans for the future. We have different videos lined up, collaborating with other young, talented artists, people who make poems, people who draw, but one of our projects that we're excited about is we're working on a short PSA series with Department of Health in Pohnpei for COVID response. We also have another video. We're teaming up with Decum, another company in Pohnpei, to create a video about climate change in our island's perspective. And actually, this one's like our favorite project that we hope to work on very soon and get it out, is working on creating a film about Nanmadol, because it's actually currently now recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Wow. I mean, you talk about those are big projects, man. What you guys got lined up is huge. And, it does, sound like a lot of pressure, but bro, like, I have faith, and I know you guys definitely got that on point and locked down. So I can't wait to see those projects as it rolls out. Let's talk about, one of the events that has recently just happened. I'm talking about the pop-up. And I was following you guys on Facebook and Instagram, how fast, how crazy that event went. Acer, you were in Pohnpei. You pretty much looked after that whole operation. Let's talk about the pop-up real quick, man, because that was a lot to see, man. It's to see how happy the people were, man. Let's talk about that.
Man, I don't know where to start, man. It was super crazy. Like, I didn't imagine like the crowd will be there, like be that much. But like around 30 minutes before I started, we already had a long line, and the parking lot was jammed, and there was like cars everywhere. Man, it was traffic the whole place. But yeah, it was so crazy, man. We had like just 20 minutes in, and we sold out on all our jerseys. We had a couple hats, but we sold out on all our jerseys, and I felt so bad because the line was still long, and I ran out. And I didn't think Pohnpei would be able to finish it all, but yeah, that was it.
Wow. So what a turnout, guys. And, we're going to take another break and we'll be back with the last part of our podcast here. And again, we're talking with Calvin and Acer of Associated Production and Breadfruit. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. It's the One Micronesia Podcast, and I'm here for the last part of the podcast here. I'm still talking with the awesome brothers. I'm talking with Calvin and Acer Apis, and we're talking about Social Productions and Breadfruit Company. And guys, right before we close out here, I just want to get you on and to talk about the future of both companies. What can people expect?
Hey, thank you for asking, bro. Man, we actually have something really, really big coming up soon. I announced this at my pop-up last Saturday, but with the help of this merge between Soulset Productions and Breadfruit Co., we will be having our first pop-up shop in Oahu, Hawaii. But not only that, we will also be launching our website. So for those of you that have been messaging me nonstop, those in Guam, Hawaii, and in the mainland, stay ready.
All right. Wow. Talk about a big step. You started in Pohnpei and now you're reaching out, and that's the goal, man. Don't stop. It doesn't mean you have to stop in Pohnpei. It doesn't mean you have to stop in Oahu, bro. You look at PIFA, if anything, I'm saying this is huge, man. You keep going. And like I said, the goal is to promote our islands, and that's how you're doing it. The more people wear the shirts, the more people will know where the shirt came from. And that's how they do their research. So that's amazing, man. So, before I close out here, guys, I talked about Micronesian kids watching the podcast and wanting and are inspired by what you guys are doing back home in Pohnpei and for Micronesia. So what do you guys have to tell the younger generation of Micronesians dreaming to do what you guys do, or to dreaming of being something better for Micronesia?
For those who want to go into filming, video editing, I think my advice for you guys is use whatever camera you have. Your phone is such a powerful device now. You can just use that to film. I mean, I've seen such great work just coming from phones. We started out by just using our phones. I mean, I had a 5S, but not only that, it's really putting in the work, the part that people don't see. You come from work. If you really want to go into film, whatever it is you're doing, go to work, you come back, you go on YouTube, because that's really where I learned a lot of about video editing. Put in the time to learn as much as you can. And I promise you, the more work you put in, everything will just start slowly falling into place.
I have 3 main tips for y'all, and this is what got me going. Firstly is to start. Your dream can never become a reality if you don't start. Second is consistency. Do it every day, practice it every day, breathe it every day. And lastly is invest in yourself. Put in the time to learn. Man, with the technology we have today, you can learn just about anything. If you have to buy a book to learn, buy it. Man, Breadfruit Co., it started with an idea. And now we're making jerseys for everybody. So yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Start, consistency, and invest in yourself.
It's been such a fun talk, guys. Like we talked about chit-chatting, we did chit-chat, and whoever's watching the podcast. Now, before we close out, guys, where can people go find you guys on social media real quick?
For Soulset Productions, we are on Instagram at Soulset Productions. We're also at Facebook at Soulset Productions.
And YouTube.
Oh, sorry, and YouTube. We're also on YouTube at Soulset Productions as well.
All right, and then
with the Breadfruit Co. Same here. It's it's Instagram and Facebook at Breadfruit Co. BRDFRTCO.
All right. Well, guys, man, it's such an awesome talk. I mean, I hope we had more time, but it really is what it is. But I think we really covered everything. We talked about inspiration. We talked about projects. We talked about what you guys want for Micronesia and what you guys are doing, with not only for yourself, but also to promoting a better and amazing Micronesia. And I think that's what you guys are definitely off to a great start there. So, guys, thank you again so much for the time here on the podcast, guys.
Thank you for having us, Vic.
Thank you so much, Vic, for this opportunity, man. Thank you.
All right. Well, there you have it, guys. That's a wrap for another episode of the One Micronesia Podcast. You guys continue to have a great one, and we'll see you next week on the next one. Peace.